So this church used to say that Americans were really Israelites. The tribes of Israel ended up in Europe, and British people and Americans were descended from them. But then, I bet you never heard of a church that said something like this before. We used to think that we were the only true church on earth. We understood the Bible in a way that no one else did. We had doctrines that made us distinct from all those other churches. We had a clear sense of identity. Oops. That's a real statement from the denomination formerly known as the Worldwide Church of God. They then said, we gradually came to see that our distinctive doctrines were in most cases a misunderstanding of the Bible. Our clear sense of identity was based on mistakes. We had to swallow our pride and discover from the Bible who we really are. They used to be binitarian. Jesus and the Father are God, but the Holy Spirit is not a person. Now they are Trinitarian. They used to teach the Father and Son were part of a God family and intended to reproduce themselves through humans. Not anymore. They used to only do believers' baptism, but now they allow infant baptism. How did this happen? This denomination was founded by radio preacher Herbert W. Armstrong in 1934. After he died, the next two presidents in the 1990s changed the church's doctrine from being very unusual to looking much like mainstream evangelical Christianity, and the name was changed to Grace Communion International. They also have lost 3/4 of their members in the process. The teaching on British Israelism, which I just referred to, they don't teach that anymore. They don't require affirming biblical inerrancy, but they do say it is infallible. They used to be mostly old earth creation, but today they also allow for believing theistic evolution. They used to meet on the Saturday Sabbath, today on Sunday. They used to teach that people had to observe the Old Testament food laws and observe the festival days, and to tithe 10% to the church and another 10% for the observance of the festivals. They don't teach any of that anymore. Today, they teach salvation is by grace through faith and not by works, one reason why they picked their new name. They are not Calvinists and teach a person can apostatize, and they don't allow speaking in tongues in worship, though they believe it can be legitimate in other settings. They allow different views on the millennium, on whether hell is a location or eternal or not, on unconsciousness and death, on military service or non-resistance. They ordain women, teach marriages between one man and one woman, and are opposed to abortion except in the case of risk to the life of the mother, and they allow members to believe in other exceptions also. When the Worldwide Church of God began changing major doctrines, the denomination split into literally hundreds of splinter groups which retained most of Armstrong's teaching. The largest denomination of this kind is the United Church of God. Click here for the 2-minute video on the UCG, or for my detailed video on the teachings of Grace Communion International, click here.